It's Wednesday, October 15th, just a little bit after 6, and you're at the Stanislaus Council of Governments meeting. I'll go ahead and call order.
Member Chiesa, Member Graywall,
Here.
Chair Condit,
Here.
Member Condit, Member Withrow,
Here.
Vice Chair Carr,
Here.
Member Swallen,
Here.
Member Escutia Brayton,
Here.
Member Wright,
Here.
Member Graham,
Here.
Member Gilbert,
Here.
Member Phillips, Member Gokin,
Here.
Member Hernandez, here, Member Lopez, and Member Clausel. Mr. Chair, you currently don't have a quorum for the item. Do you want to wait a couple minutes?
Yeah, we do have a couple en route. They're just running behind in traffic.
Okay.
The irony. We do have a quorum.
All right.
So we're going to get going. Let's go ahead and stand for Pledge of Allegiance, please.
United States of America.
To the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Okay, the next part of the agenda is public comment. Members of the public may address the policy board on any item not on the agenda. Comment shall be limited to 5 minutes. Anybody like to make public comment on items not on the agenda? Being none, I'm going to bring it back to the policy board. And if the policy board doesn't mind, we're going to move up the Caltrans report on the agenda just so that he does not have to stick around all the way to the close of the meeting. Caleb.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Good to see you all again. A couple of funding opportunities, one federal, one state. The U.S. Department of Commerce and U.S. Economic Development Administration released the 2025 Regional Technology and Information Hub Program. Provides funding for a wide range of construction and non-constructive construction activities, broadly organized into workforce development, business and entrepreneur development, technology development and maturation, infrastructure and governance. There's currently $220 million available for that, and the deadline is November 7th. The other one is a state fund, the Caltrans fiscal year 26-27 Sustainable Transportation Planning Grants. And so that's available to the COGS, counties, cities, transit agencies, as well as tribal governments. The call for applications is November 21st. There's approximately $20 million of competitive funds available for that. Two exciting events happening in District 10 over the next 2 weeks. So as you guys know, the CTC is meeting in Merced tomorrow and Friday. So it's always good to have the CTC and folks from around the state be in our backyard and be able to talk to more local folks and have us better opportunity to tell our story of what's going on. And the other one is on Wednesday, October 22nd. The district will be hosting Caltrans Director Dina El-Twanzi, as well as Acting Chief Deputy Dermody for the Director's Town Hall. So the director, as well as folks from her office, will be in town for the town hall, and it's an internal thing, but they usually do 2 or 3 of these a year, so it's great to have the director and access to her cabinet here in the district. We're just finalizing the quarterly Stanislaus project and maintenance report, so we'll get that to Jean and her team, and she'll circulate that here pretty soon. And then lastly, District 10 Director Grace Mexayo has decided to keep me permanently, so I will be attending the board meetings and continue to be the conduit between StanCog board and Caltrans as a whole. And I do appreciate the warm welcome and relationships that I've established with some of the board members already, and look forward to continuing to serve you guys for the foreseeable future. That concludes my report for today.
All right. Thank you, Caleb. Any questions for Caleb? And none. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you being here. All right. We do have closed session tonight. Monica, you would like to report?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The board will adjourn to closed session to discuss items 5A, B, C, and D as identified on the agenda. Mr. Chair, would you like to ask for public comment?
Any public comment on closed session items? Seeing none, we'll be going into closed session. Okay, we are reconvening back from closed session. Go ahead. Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The board has returned from closed session to discuss items 5A, B, C, and D as identified on the agenda. All members of the board were present for the duration of the closed session with the exception of Member Graywall, who had to excuse from the closed session at 6:30 PM, and there is no reportable act.
All right, moving on to consent calendar. Any policy board member like to discuss anything on the consent? Any member of the public like to make comments on anything on consent? Seeing none, I'm going to bring it back for the policy board.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a first and a second. Who is the first? Casey Graham. Second, David Wright. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. All right. Discussion item, discussion A, consider and adopt resolutions of necessity to acquire real property or an interest in real property by eminent domain for the State Route 132 West project for the following parcels.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to turn this over to Tony Harris.
Tony.
Good evening again. Tony Harris, Manager of Strategic Project Delivery. Tonight, I want to present an item requesting that the board adopt a resolution of necessity for parcels that are needed for the construction of State Route 132 West from Dakota to Gates. Next slide, please. So in this presentation, need to walk through the actual project description, explain the resolution necessity required consideration by this board. Then I'm going to summarize the resolution of necessity findings and then present staff recommendation. Next. This is the project. The actual State Route 132 project is basically from Needham to Gates Road. What we'll be really focusing on tonight is the portion from Dakota to Gates. Next. The improvements from Dakota to Gates is a 2-lane expressway. There will be overcrossings at Hart Road and Dakota Avenue, and then they will reconnect back to the existing route with a roundabout at Gates Road. Next. This slide is to demonstrate what right-of-way is needed for this project. What is shown in blue is right-of-way that was previously purchased by Caltrans for the project in this area. What you see in orange is what has currently been acquired for the project. Next. So these are the items that needs to be taken into consideration for a resolution of necessity. So in order to actually adopt the resolution, the board is being asked to consider and find the following. One, that the public interest and necessity requires the project. The project is also been located in a manner that is most compatible with the general public good and the least private harm. The property being acquired is necessary for the project, and that an offer has been presented to the property owners. Next. So I'm going to walk through each one of these considerations as relates specifically to the project. First, public interest and necessity requires the project. The State Route 132 West project is needed to improve mobility in the western part of the county. It is also needed to improve capacity for the movement of traffic and goods in the county. It will improve the circulation of local roads and connectivities to State Route 132, and it also will provide route continuity. Next. For the consideration that is planned and located in a manner that would be most compatible with the greatest public good and least private injury, the draft environmental document considered 5 different alternatives, including no build. There was extensive planning and analysis, including community input and public hearings that was completed during the environmental document process, and it was weighted and looked at how to mitigate potential impacts. Caltrans approved the CEQA NEPA environmental document and the route adoption in April 21st, 2022. And with that approval, they confirmed that alignment 2 as the State Route 132 West preferred alternative. Next. For finding that the property sought to be acquired is necessary for the project, there are 4 particular property owners that we're focusing on tonight. It's the Reyes and Macias property, it's the Texas Ranch LTD partnership, the Alcamo Farm LLC, and the M3 Land Company LLC. Next. This shows where these properties are located. The Reyes and Macias property is located in the vicinity of Hart Road. The M3 land and the Texas Ranch land are located between Hart Road and Dakota. And the Alcamo Farm is located on Dakota, just north of the existing project. Next. So for the Reyes and Macias property, you'll see this is the outline of the parcel that is located in particular. And so it's been acquired because it will be used for the actual construction of the improvements in the vicinity of Hart Road. Next. Texas Ranch LTP partnership is a partial acquisition. Caltrans previously acquired property, but additional property is needed for the actual improvement in this location. Next. Alcamo Farm. This is a partial acquisition along Dakota to help facilitate the actual tie back into Dakota with the construction of the Dakota overcrossing. Next. And M3 Land Company is similar to the Texas Ranch. Part of the property was acquired by Caltrans in the past, and additional property is needed to be acquired to facilitate the actual improvements that are being constructed with the project. Next. The finding related to offers that are required by government code. You'll see listed here each one of the owners and the date that a formal offer was made to the property owners. The team actually met with each property owners and presented the offer to them, starting in March with the last one being presented in June. Next. So in summary of the necessity findings that are required, the project is planned in a manner that is most compatible with the greatest public good and least private industry. The public interest and necessity requires that the State Route 132 West project and the environmental document was approved in April 2022. The properties that are being discussed tonight are necessary for the project, and offers have been made to the parcel owners to acquire the property. Next. So staff is recommending that one, you find that the public interest and necessity required the State Route 132 project. Two, find that the project is planned and located in a manner that will be most compatible with the greatest public good and the least private injury. Three, find that the subject parcels are necessary for the project. The Reyes Macias property, the Texas Ranch LP, the Alcamo Farm, and the M3 Land Company LLC. Next slide. Find that offers as required by the government code has been made to the parcel owners of the properties to be acquired, and that you adopt a resolution of necessity in the form that is attached to your staff report as attachment 1. So with that, I will pause for questions.
Any questions for Mr. Harris?
Yeah, Tony, maybe I missed it, but Caltrans acquired some of this right away many years ago, right? I mean, this has been an ongoing thing. People out there aware of that, you know, this was coming and a lot of people knew it. I mean, could you go through some of that, please?
Yeah, Caltrans actually began acquiring right-of-ways in this area in the 60s, all right? And at that time, things got put on hold because of lack of funding for moving forward with the property. A lot of the right-of-way that Caltrans has acquired, they have leased back to property owners who are now using it. And the leases identify that, you know, those would terminate when the project is ready to move forward with it. A lot of discussion with the property owners, you know, a lot of them are working on offers back in response to us, but we're moving forward in order to provide more certainty for our construction schedule, which the funding provided by the California Transportation Commission, we need to allocate for construction before the end of June of next year.
Any other questions?
Not a question, just Tony, even though we're going through this process, they still, negotiations are ongoing. This doesn't set anybody's price, nothing's decided.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Tony, I have one on the Reyes Macias property. There is a home on the property that belongs to somebody else or it appears that way, you're having unsuccessful in contacting that person. Can you kind of tell us how Iran allows you more flexibility in trying to find the ownership or the true ownership?
Yeah, I will start, but I have the team here to help me answer if need be. There's a manufactured home on that parcel that we have not been able to locate the owner that's listed on the title report. The res MSS feels that they own it, all right? So if we're able to go through the resolution necessity and that is approved, that will put us in a position to begin to negotiate with the res MSS family as relates to that manufactured home.
So just
Correct.
for clarification, the Rea family owns the house or the land, but somebody else owns the house on the property because it's a modular home.
There's, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jennifer, but there are multiple homes on this parcel. They actually owns the one that they currently live in. That's a manufactured home that they rent out in particular. So the question here is that manufactured home that's being rented out. And I guess it's been there a long time in particular.
Good evening, everyone. Not to belabor the point, but I think just to add to, yes, Artin Shaverdian, outside counsel, partner with Nossaman LLP, outside counsel for Stancog. Again, just to add to what Tony said, the way that the condemnation action works is it's essentially almost like a quiet title action. So when we file the eminent domain action, if this board were to adopt the resolution of necessity authorizing us to do so, then every interested party that appears on title would get named, and so they would have the ability to come into the action and make a claim. We don't believe that the owner of the mobile home park is going to enter the action and make a claim because we've attempted to contact this person. It's not even clear whether that person is still alive or not, but there is an encumbrance on the title where this was never cleared, and so that's the issue that we're having. So we need to clear this, and for this particular matter, I think we can sort of call this a friendly condemnation in that the Raya and Macias family agreed to sell the property to Stancog for a specific price, but we couldn't clear title, and so we're going to have to go through this process for this one to clear title.
Thank you for that explanation, Arden.
You're very welcome.
All right, any other questions? All right, seeing none, any questions from the public on this agenda item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the policy board for a motion.
Just like to make a comment. I mean, you know, obviously, we hate to eminent domain anything, but it's necessary when building, you know, roads, streets. I mean, if eminent domain was never used, I'm not saying we're going to have to even if we approve this, but I can imagine what 99 or I-5 would look like. And, you know, and it's just one of those things, necessity, and I would make a motion to approve.
I have a first and a second. Go ahead with a roll call, please.
Chair Condit,
Aye.
Member Withrow,
Yes.
Vice Chair Carr,
Aye.
Member Swallen,
Aye.
Member Escutia Brayton,
Aye.
Member Wright,
Aye.
Member Graham,
Aye.
Member Gilbert,
Aye.
Member Phillips, Member Gokin,
Aye.
and Member Hernandez.
Yes.
Motion passes. Go ahead, Tony.
We just wanted to clarify for the record that your vote is for all four of the resolution necessities.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. Shannon, clerk, we didn't call all the members of the board for purposes of the roll. The record should reflect that Supervisor Graywall did return and he was not called as part of the roll.
My apologies, Member Graywall.
Aye.
Way to go, Manning. All right, moving on. B, motion to adopt resolution 2513 authorizing the executive director to negotiate and execute a memorandum of understanding for the Modesto Bus Rapid Transit Study with Stanislaus Regional Transit Authority. Dean Fletta.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm actually going to turn this over in just a moment to our consultant, Michael Sagala, who's handling our regional early action planning grants of 2021, which is REAP 2.0. And Michael will be handling the next two items. for us on that. So welcome and thank you.
Thank you, Jean. Good evening, StanCog Policy Board. Michael Sagala, consultant to StanCog. This first item before you today is to approve a memorandum of understanding with the Stanislaus Regional Transit Authority, Stan RTA, for a Modesto Bus Rapid Transit Study. Next slide, please. That's fine. As a little bit of background, StanCog was awarded a little bit over $7 million in REAP 2.0 funding. That's Regional Early Action Program funding from the State of California Housing and Community Development Department about 2 years ago. REAP is a funding source. It's a grant funding source to the MPOs of the state for housing and transportation planning projects that align with the state goals of meeting housing equity, reducing vehicle miles traveled, and advancing implementation of the region's sustainable community strategy. Of the total award to StanCog, $700,000 was identified in the application to be allocated to Stan RTA for this bus rapid transit project. StanCog will utilize the REAP 2.0 funding to conduct an implementation study and concept development for a new BRT service in Modesto. The Stan RTA project was included in StanCog's 2022 Sustainable Community Strategy Plan. So you may ask, what is BRT? What am I talking about? BRT is a bus-based public transit system that provides rail-like quality and speed through dedicated bus lanes, sometimes automatic signalized intersections as well. Sometimes the buses are articulated, meaning there's that accordion in the middle and it's a longer bus. Off-road fare collection, so folks can pay for the bus before getting on it. Platform level boarding, so people raise up, they walk on a platform, then they walk in the bus, so there's no delay of getting people in the bus. So all of these features deliver a faster, more reliable, and cost-effective transit service, offering a high-capacity alternative to traditional buses. In short, the project will provide Stan RTA and StanCog and the greater community here with a comprehensive roadmap for optimizing transit service and advancing bus rapid transit implementation. The study includes, as identified in your staff report, feasibility analysis, outreach, capital impact programming, and other analysis necessary. Building on recent planning efforts, it will develop near-term service enhancements, identify priority corridors such as McHenry for a BRT network, and prepare a launch of the first BRT corridor. Next slide, please. So in closing, we're asking you to adopt Resolution 2513, authorizing the Executive Director to negotiate and execute the MOU in your packet for this study with the Stanislaus Regional Transit Authority. I will note that the Stanislaus Regional Transit Authority Board has already heard and approved this item as well. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Michael? All right, any questions from the public? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the policy board for a motion.
Motion to approve staff recommendations.
Second. I have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. Moving on to item C, motion to adopt resolution 2514, authorizing the executive director to negotiate and execute memorandums of understanding for the regional early action planning grants of 2021 REAP 2.0 transformative funding sub-allocation program with the member agencies. Jean Filetta.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, this is a Michael Scala item, so I'm going to have him turn it over to him and let him.
All right. Good evening again, board. Michael Segale here. This next item is again a REAP 2.0 related. Again, the state awarded StanCog with a little bit over $7 million for this program. The funding item before you today is to allocate up to 3.1 million of that total funding through the transformative program to jurisdictions within Stanislaus County. So in your staff report, you'll see that the $3.1 million was allocated to each city based on a $100,000 base funding amount, and then an amount based upon their RENA housing allocation. In other words, how many housing units the state requires each jurisdiction to plan for in this next housing element cycle. We put together a call for projects in June of 2025, and applications were due in August. 9 of the 10 jurisdictions in Stanislaus County submitted an application for funding, and StanCog staff, in consultation with HCD, has reviewed the applications for the past month and have 4 ready. Next slide, please. 4 ready to proceed at this time. Those cities are the city of Patterson, who is proposing housing element update work and a new incentive program to support small scale, quick to market housing such as ADUs. City of Riverbank is going to do a infill development impact fee program to reduce impact fees in their inner city to allow housing development to occur. Turlock is doing a master plan for 7 unincorporated county islands, and Stanislaus County is doing rezoning of 87 acres to enable close to 1,500 new housing units within the unincorporated portion. So again, the item before you tonight is to approve an MOU for those 4 cities. We are still working with the other 5 that I mentioned. Well, I didn't mention them, but it's Ceres, Modesto, Newman, Oakdale, and Waterford. We're still going through the review process with them, and we will come back at a later date, possibly next month, with the same item to approve MOUs with them as well. I will note the city of Houston did not apply. That concludes my presentation. I'm here to answer any questions.
Any questions for Michael? Seeing none, any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt this item.
I have a first.
I'll second it.
I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Moving on to item D, motion to approve by resolution 25-15, the fiscal year 2025-26, Measure L project summary for MOVE Stanislaus as required by the Measure L Master Funding Agreement. Jean Fletta.
Thank you so much. Next slide, please. So this is an annual item that we bring to the policy board for MOVE's Measure L budget. The MOVE continues to enhance the transportation services and expand the network of services in this community. Instead of me talking about it, they have produced a video that both myself and Tony Hill, the executive director at MOVE, would like to share with you now.
Getting where you need to go isn't always easy, so we turn transportation into connection, a lift for groceries, a helping hand, support for those who served. So appointments made are kept. Because when mobility looks different for each of us, we provide support specific to your needs, giving you the confidence to ride on your own and ride without worry. To move freely isn't just independence, it's dignity, time, and possibility. Every driver, every trainer, every neighbor we serve is part of something bigger, a community that moves together.
So as I said, that describes the programs a lot better than I can verbally. So next slide, please. So the budget for MOVE this year is 1.8 million. They have an undistributed balance of Measure L funds for MOVE, so that this is the savings that they've accumulated over the last 5-10 years that's sitting in a pot and can only be used by MOVE, and that's $3.1 million. The anticipated Measure L for 25-26 is 1.2 million. So we need to grab some of that reserve money to make them whole, to get them to the 1.8 million, which means we need to take $628,000 from that reserve, leaving a balance of $2.4 million in the reserve. So that completes my report, and I would be happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Jean? Seeing none, any questions from the public in this agenda item? Bring it back to the policy board for motion.
So moved.
First. And I'll go ahead and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. All right, moving on. Item E, motion to adopt resolution 2516 authorizing the executive director to negotiate and execute a professional service agreement with SOMAS for the Church Street Mobility Enhancement Project. Tony Harris.
Hello again, Tony Harris, Manager of Strategic Project Delivery. Next slide, please. Church Street project began through a community transportation needs assessment. In October of 2019, Stancock received a grant from Caltrans, and the purpose of that grant was to assess the transportation network and identify improvement strategies in unincorporated disadvantaged community. Recommendations coming out of it was mobility enhancement concepts in Bystrom and Empire. Next. This general location shows you where the project will be located on Church Street from Yosemite, which is State Route 132, to just north of McCord. It also will have improvements on 1st and 2nd Street between Church and G Street. Next slide. Again, the limits, Church Street, State Route 132, Yosemite, to north of McCord, and then on 1st and 2nd from west of Church Street over to G Street. The actual improvements would be to construct curb, gutter, sidewalks, and drainage improvements. It's going to replace non-compliant sidewalk sections, and then we'll install curb extensions, crosswalk, flashing beacons, and stop signs, along with street lights through these limits. Next. This policy board approved a resolution in January 2024 to basically provide a little bit over $2 million out of the Measure L Community Connection Funds towards the project. That was used as matching funds for an active transportation program grant that was submitted by Stancock to the California Transportation Commission. The commission selected a project, but was only able to partially fund what the amount that was requested. So they voted to provide $4.5 million in active transportation program funds, and that left the need for another $3.2 million. Then in June of this year, the CTC amended that program to fully fund the amount that was requested by Stancock, and that was due to other active transportation program projects' failure to meet their delivery commitments. Next. So the overall project, the total cost of the project, including all the pre-construction activities, is $9.7 million. A little bit over $7 million as active transportation, and then a little bit over $7.7 million is active transportation, and then the other $2 million is from the Measure L Community Connect program. Next. The procurement process, you see the timeline listed here. A request for proposal was released in July of this year, and then the actual proposals were evaluated by a team consisting of the county public works department, because the county actually owns the roadway, along with myself representing Stancock in particular. And the plan is, as we're presenting a recommendation to you, if approved, we would work with SOMAS to actually execute an agreement by early November and be able to start work immediately. Next. So we actually did receive 4 proposals, okay? And we reviewed the 4 proposals, and it was consensus among the review committee that SOMAS was the preferred consultant team in particular. And based upon that, we had consensus to bring forth the staff report and the item that we're recommending to you tonight. So based upon the reviews, the RFP indicated interviews was optional, and the consensus among the evaluation team was there was no need to go the next step of actually conducting interviews because we felt SOMAS was the team. The next closest team actually was Mark Thomas. But if you notice in the schedule, there's 0. they did not include a schedule in their proposal, which was somewhat of a fatal flaw. So, next. So the recommendation is for the policy board to adopt resolution 2516, authorizing the executive director to negotiate and execute a professional service agreement with SOMAS for the Church Street Mobility Enhancement Project. This item was presented to the executive committee, who also passed a motion supporting staff recommendation.
Any questions for Tony? Seeing none, any questions from the public? Bring it back to the policy board for a motion.
To approve?
I have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Right. I hope everybody has had a chance to take a look at their informational items in their booklet. We've had our Caltrans report, interim executive director report.
Thank you. So next slide, please. There was a public open house for the State Route 132 West project, which was hosted on Thursday, October 2nd, 2025 from 5:30 to 7:30. The in-person meeting was held at the Central Catholic High School in Modesto. Member Withrow spoke at the event. Chair Condon and Member Phillips also attended. More than 30 community members attended the meeting, as well as Stancock staff and project team members. The meeting was a success, and the members from the community engaged with the elected representatives and with Stancock and its consultants to help make SR 132 West a successful project. Then tomorrow, Jose Luis Casares will be attending the CTC, where they are anticipate to allocate 4.67 in local partnership formulaic program funding to SR West 99 and SR 132 interchange for right of way. That concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Jane. Any member reports? Don?
Have a short one.
Go ahead. There you go.
In September, council awarded a $13.3 million contract to United Pavement Maintenance of Houston, California for the 9th Street Corridor Improvement Project. This project leveraged local Measure L funds to secure $25 million in affordable housing and sustainable communities grant to deliver the Archway Commons development. The 9th Street Corridor Improvement Project will transform the former state highway into a bike and pedestrian-friendly corridor with downtown connectivity, intersection improvements, and new roundabouts at Carver, Tully, and Needham. The project is expected to start construction later this year and be completed in late 2026.
Did you say that was awarded locally to a business in Houston?
Yes,
I love that it's local. Way to go.
we love you all. You're all part of this Modesto community in our mind.
Most of the time. I'm big, happy family. Trying to help little Houston.
Any other reports? Seeing none, we're adjourned, and the next regular meeting will be November 19th, 2025 at 6
I
p.m.
didn't say local. Carver.
Yes.
And Needham. It's
It's
Carver
roads,
and
yeah.
9th Street.
It's the
It's all on the old